she had been in business at that point for about 20 years, and she was making no money because she was barely charging anybody for anything. She wasn't pricing enough because she felt like it was her gift, right? How many times do we hear that conversation? And so I immediately went in, raised all of her prices, like I tripled her prices out the gate. I thought she was going to have a stroke. And but she did it, and look, it was so funny. So she started having the sales conversations, right? And she bumped her price up. It took a lot of courage. She bumped her price up, and they said yes.
Awesome to have you guys back out here, the Faster Growth Podcast. I am here with Michelle Mere Feist, and it's so exciting to have her on here for many, many, many reasons. One thing is there's a lot of people that train and they talk about things, and there's some other people that have actually done it with multiple businesses, and Michelle is the person. She has rolled up her sleeves. She knows the head knowledge, but she also knows like getting dirty, getting after it. And so exciting to have you with us, Michelle. Go ahead and introduce yourself and maybe share a little bit about your business and how you help businesses grow.
Perfect. Thank you. So glad to be here. So I am Michelle Mere Feist, and I have a company called Bottom Line Bookkeeping Solutions. My story starts from the beginning. Like I tell people, I was born into a family that had kids to guarantee they had employees. We had a grocery store, a mobile home, a record service. My dad started our trucking company when I was 7. So literally, I grew up in this world of entrepreneurship. That's why entrepreneurs have my heart. I mean, this is where I was built to do this. And so fast forward, went to college, got an accounting degree, because one day my dad, when I was like 10, said, if you understand the numbers, you can build anything you want. And that was all I wanted, was to build businesses. So spent 20 plus years building our trucking company to a point where we sold it. My entire family retired that year. That was 2007. And since then, decided like, what was I going to do next? And my heart lies with small business and entrepreneurs. And so that led me to the coaching world. But what I started to recognize was that so many people are out there trying to figure out how to make their business work, and they have no clue about their numbers, and your numbers tell the story. And so that led to me starting Bottom Line Bookkeeping Solutions, where I offer CFO services. We do monthly bookkeeping, we do all that kind of stuff, but ours is next level. We're wanting to help you understand your numbers. What is that doing in your business? Why is this a struggle and this piece is working? What should we be doing? It's more about the full picture. And so, that's what we do.
I love that. Yeah, that's such a great overview. I mean, it doesn't even, your overview could be 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 pages long. It's got so many things you worked with. But as you think about, if you're going to, business owner that wants fast results, maybe what's one of the first things that she or he should focus on?
I think it is looking at your pricing. And it changes everything. Number one, a lot of, if you're new and you're out there and you're like, well, Susie Q has a college education and she charges this much, so I can't charge that much because I didn't go to school yet. Like, irrelevant. That has nothing to do with it. That is the mistake I see a lot of new people doing. And so there's a whole pricing kind of conversation that needs to be had. If you've been in business for a while and you haven't adjusted your prices or stopped and looked at what it actually costs you to run your business, I work with a lot of people in the contractor world, and they'll say to me, well, I'm covering my cost. No, you're not. You're covering the cost of your materials, but you're not covering your overhead. So there's a bigger picture to how we're pricing. You fix that and get your sales lined out, and it changes your world. So.
I love that. You've already, I know that people that are listening to this aren't getting charged for this, but automatically they got a good ROI for their time, because that alone, that advice, y'all listen to Michelle. She's not just saying things because she learned it in a book, although she probably wrote the book, but she's done it with multiple businesses. So again, listen to what she has to say on that. And that's great feedback. Michelle, what's one strategy or tool, that you've seen make the biggest difference maybe in speeding up growth for small business?
Well, so I'm going to come from 2 angles. One is you got to get your books in line, because if you don't know your numbers, like QuickBooks Online, do something where you're physically seeing the numbers and addressing what's really happening in your business. Huge mistake. I'm gonna throw you a little secret one though too, and that is get out there and get visible and start speaking. Okay, I know it's like a little off my topic here of numbers, but that changed my business completely whenever I felt like nobody was paying attention. Okay, so if you're out there new trying to figure it out, I highly recommend that you get some speaking out there and get out in front of people.
I
So
love that. I know you have a lot of success stories and you could probably list a ton, but if you have like one or maybe two that you can think about of a success story about how you've helped get someone get faster results, what
yeah,
do you think about?
yeah. So I have a client. She's now been a client of mine for about 12 years. But when we first started working together and we sat down to look at her business, and she had been in business at that point for about 20 years, and she was making no money because she was barely charging anybody for anything because I'm going to call her a life coach, although she doesn't like that term, but that way everybody kind of gets a feel for what's going on. She was like, she wasn't pricing enough because she felt like it was her gift, right? How many times do we hear that conversation? And so I immediately went in, raised all of her prices, like I tripled her prices out the gate. I thought she was going to have a stroke. And but she did it, and look, it was so funny. So she started having the sales conversations, right? And she bumped her price up. It took a lot of courage. She bumped her price up, and they said yes. And then the next one, she bumped it up a little bit more, and they said yes. And she did like four times, just a couple of $100s at a time, looking for the sweet spot. Because eventually, some people said no, right? It got a little too high, maybe. And so it was huge. And she went from, I think she was doing about $40,000 a year when I met her. Within 3 years, she was doing $500,000 a year. And the first shift we made was the pricing change.
I love that. You're given such good practical advice. The other thing that changed is her mindset. I'm sure like as you start believing differently about oneself and what the value you offer. And so I know that you're very tangible, but you also work on the mind as well when you work with people. And I love that. Well, I know people, if we're gonna like make even simplify it, like what's one thing this week to move faster, any smaller things that people can do immediately, any other suggestions you have as we close out here pretty soon?
Yeah, so if we came from a numbers perspective and you want to increase your business, right? Sales it's a flat numbers game. Okay. So my first question is, how many actual sales conversations have you had? And how many did you have last week? How many have you had in the last month? Some of you are going to sit there and go, okay, I really didn't have any. Okay, so let's make that happen this week. How can you have 3 sales conversations this week? If you're someone who's been like, oh, I've been having the sales conversations, but they're not closing, we need to look at the statistics, right? Back to everything or not is numbers. So if we're having 5 sales conversations last week and 5 sales conversations the week before, and we didn't close any of those, we have to look at what's the conversation that's happening. But what I want you to look at is maybe you had 10 and you closed 1. Well, that means you've got a 10% close rate. Go have 10 more and close another one. And then we'll work on how do you close 2 out of 10 instead of 1 out of 10. So give yourself grace. People often compare this to like the baseball stats, and I'm not a real big baseball person, but I do know this, that nobody hits 100% of the time. If they hit 30% of the time, they're knocking it out the park. And so a 30% closer is a great salesperson in this world of reality. Okay. What does that mean? That's closing 3 out of 10. So when they're not closing, it doesn't necessarily mean you're doing anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So now
I love it. Yeah, no, that's awesome. And just to echo back again, the mindset shift of the, people might think, oh, batting 300 or 30%, that's bad. But no, that's actually amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I bet you also probably run across a lot of people that they think they're doing the activity and then they put the numbers down. They're like, you realize, oh, I thought I was having a lot of conversations, but I really wasn't. And so that's again, Y'all just having someone like Michelle to guide you, just to be on your team, see things differently. Also, someone that's been there and done that. It's super, super helpful. And I know people are going to want to reach out to you. And I know you're busy. You got a lot of clients, a lot of people you work with. So, what is the best way, Michelle, that people can reach out to you?
One, you can email me. So it's Michelle with one L, guys, Michele at bottomlinebookkeepingsolutions.com. Two, if you just want to go straight to the website, bottomlinebookkeepingsolutions.com, we've got great freebies on there, trainings that we've done, great blog posts with lots of wonderful content. I'm really big about sharing good, valuable, usable nuggets. So go check out the website. You'll find some good stuff there.
Awesome. All right. Well, great to having you with us today. I know another amazing faster growth podcast. One thing I was just thinking about, bottom line, man. Michelle's all about getting the bottom line. We can talk about things and there could be theory, but she's ultimately about getting you bottom line results. So reach out to her. And even if you don't, just take the nugget she has and apply it to your life, apply it to your business, and you're going to be better off than if you just tucked it away and forgot it.